right idea. And Eleanor, oddly enough, is also a firstborn. So she saw the gloves go on a couple of times, and she went to her room and found a set of gloves of her own. got right in it. And, yeah, so she's there's definitely a three-way tug of war for dominance in the house. And then Nils, our almost 2-year-old, came along, and he's not having it either. So, but they're really funny. They went out for dinner the other night, and do you guys have the spaghetti factories around here? Well, it's just like a gimmicky spaghetti restaurant with
Spaghetti Works.
probably.
Yeah,
Yeah, and the spumoni at the end. Yeah. Well, so they shared a spumoni, which means that Nils, who's not 2 yet, took a bite and then handed it to Eleanor, and then Eleanor took a bite and then handed it back to Nils, and they just sat and passed it back and forth until it was gone. And my wife told me that, and I just started crying. I was like, "That's amazing! Everything's gonna be okay." So yeah, because you worry that sometimes they're assholes. They don't act right. They're sociopathic. But that's our job, to teach them how to empathize. They're getting there. So yeah, they're good. They're really pretty too, which I really feel like I married up, and that's real key. And they're easier on the eyeballs, certainly than I am. More like my old lady, so they'll be able to mate well. I listened to a radio lab this afternoon about, it's called The Good Show, and it was about altruism or goodness or heroism or these things in sort of the Darwinian context of, Darwin's theory usually supports the idea that you protect your species and your sort of DNA instinctively, but that there's this other kind of anomaly where there are people acting altruistically, and while it's still driven by self-preservation in a macro sense, it sort of defies the normal Darwinian kind of way of looking at things. And anytime Darwin comes up, there's always something about mating, and that certain types of people will pair off and procreate, and it's hopeful. I mean, it's hopeful that I hope I get to have sex again in my life, but it's hopeful in the sense that what's truly attractive. Genghis Khan spread his seed further than anybody else in history, but not because he was attractive to the people he was spreading the seed to, because he forced them to do it and met his end when a woman craftily put a knife in her vagina and got it good. Bastard good. But the idea that we would pair people, that what's most attractive about people, which ultimately I think is compatible, or the ability to kind of coexist, which requires nuanced behavior, forgiveness, these things, that those will ultimately rise to the top, evolutionarily speaking. People like to focus on the animalistic part of, especially in a college town, of us. But there's a Darwinian kind of drive for us to evolve socially. And I think that that's still part of the game. So it's very exciting. I'm looking at my own 2 kids. I think there's a chance. Conservatives are having kids at a much faster rate than liberals, which is scary as hell. But, But I think my kids might be worth 2 or 3 kids of a conservative.
That's horrible.
It's the sheer efficacy of humanity. That ain't just us versus them. That's not. I don't really think that. Of course. Any other topics of conversation that you'd like to?
You play a magazine tonight? Is that one you're doing right now?
It's not possible for me to do that song justice with just an
right.
acoustic guitar.